Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is place the lining inside of the mane with our wrong sides together. So we don't even have to flip our hat right side out. Just line up the seam in the back with the other seam for the mane. Just make sure those are both pressed flat. Line them up and stick them together. Oh my gosh, I love this lining fabric. It's just so fun. So fun. So glad I went for something fun here. And then we are going to clip these two pieces together. Just stuff this in as best as you possibly can. Might be a little fiddly, but that's okay. These should, generally fit together well, unless you've done something horribly wrong. But don't worry about that. I'm sure they fit fine. And I'm just kind of going in the middle, inside of my hat, and kind of just like pressing the main piece down, making it a little more crisp so it fits in here a little better. I mean, do what you need to do to get everything to fit. Once we've pinned our pieces together, we're gonna go and baste around this outside edge using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. We wanna baste these together, it's temporary stitching. If you've never basted before, what that means is you're going to keep the straight stitch on your machine selected, and you're going to lengthen the stitch length as far out as you possibly can. So on my machine, my default stitch length is about 2.5 or 3 on most machines. But mine is 2.5, and my basting stitch is a stitch length of 5. So just gonna let it all out. That makes the threads really loose, so you can easily gather with them, or you can easily pull them out if you need to. So many benefits to basting stitches. So let's go do that right now. All right, so I'm just pushing my stitch length out as far as I can, and I'm going to baste around the hat at about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So that should be inside of your 1/2 inch stay stitching lines. Just go slow and steady here again. Anytime you're sewing a curve, you want to go slow and steady. And just pull it out. You don't need to back stitch when you baste because it's temporary stitching. It's starting to look like a hat, which is really exciting. Okay, so if you are doing an unlined version of your hat, you will want to take some of the bias binding that you have, whether you made it yourself or you are using store-bought, and you're going to put it around those inside seams that we had exposed. It's hard to tell now because I've closed them, but around the crown and top pieces. And you're going to use that bias binding as a means to finish the raw edges of your hat. So you'll pin it on, and then you'll stitch it, and then you'll fold the bias binding over and stitch it again, and that will enclose the raw edges. So there's a beautiful tutorial inside of the sun hat pattern instructions. So I would highly recommend that you just go and take a peek at step 4 in the pattern instructions. It gives you exactly what you need to make the unlined version with the bias binding. Okay, so once we've done that, we can move along to the brim.